I'm done with you. Just die here." My husband spat out the words, leaving them to hang in the frigid air as he abandoned me and our 4-year-old daughter in the snowy expanse of the mountain wilderness. I had no clue where we were, the biting winds mercilessly gnawing at our bodies, causing us to shiver uncontrollably. "We just have to follow Grandma," my daughter suddenly exclaimed, pointing in a direction where there was no one to be seen. Despite the absence of anyone there, I decided to trust my daughter's strange intuition. "My name is Nancy, a 32-year-old remote worker. I had met my husband, Mark, at a group blind date. He was a charismatic entrepreneur, smooth-talking and confident. I fell for him hard, and we soon got married. Mark came from a well-respected family, and our friends envied the seemingly perfect relationship we shared. After our wedding, at the request of my in-laws, we moved in with them. They were kind people, but my mother-in-law's frail health demanded constant care. "Nancy, I heard you're a nurse," my father-in-law said to me one day. "My wife is so frail, and I've been so worried. We are grateful that you came into our lives." I left my nursing job to care for my mother-in-law, working from home as a web designer, a passion I had cultivated over the years. It allowed me to work at my own pace, without the pressure of strict deadlines. But one thing nagged at me. After 3 years of marriage, we still hadn't been blessed with a child. Mark's business flourished, but he became increasingly absorbed in his success, spending more time out than at home. "Listen, Mark, your mom isn't doing well. You should spend some time with her," I would plead, but to no avail. I longed to show our child to my bedridden mother-in-law, who didn't have much time left, and the guilt gnawed at me. "I'm sorry we couldn't give you a grandchild yet," I lamented one day. "Don't say that. I'm satisfied to have a daughter like you, Nancy," my mother-in-law replied kindly. She had become like a real mother to me since I had lost mine at a young age. On good days, I would take her for walks in her wheelchair or prepare nutritious meals that she could enjoy. I tried my best to make her remaining days comfortable. One day, she called me to her bedside. "I'm glad you're going to have a lovely daughter soon. She'll be born around the time jasmine will bloom, so name her Jasmine." I hesitated, unsure of how to respond. I couldn't help but feel puzzled by my mother-in-law's cryptic words. Her health had been deteriorating, and I wondered if her illness was causing her to hallucinate. Not long after, she passed away, leaving me utterly devastated. I had been by her side every day since we got married 3 years ago. Shortly after her funeral, I discovered I was pregnant. The due date was set for July, the very season for jasmine flowers, just as my mother-in-law had mentioned. I was stunned, but more than anything, I was overwhelmed with joy. I couldn't wait to share the news with Mark. "Mark, listen. I'm pregnant," I announced eagerly when he finally came home. His response caught me off guard. "Wait, really? I'm not good with kids. I don't think I want any right now," he said dismissively. His words stung, leaving me speechless. I could smell alcohol on his breath, and his clothes reeked of perfume. I had a sinking feeling I knew where he was spending his time. To him, I was nothing more than a convenient housemaid caring for his parents, but I couldn't give up on the precious life growing inside me. Despite Mark's indifference, I managed to gather the necessary resources for our baby. I dipped into the savings I had accrued when I was single and used my earnings from work. Just as my mother-in-law had predicted, our daughter was born during the blooming season of jasmine flowers. We named her Jasmine. She was a beautiful child with radiant skin, bearing a striking resemblance to my late mother-in-law. As Jasmine grew, she displayed unique traits. She would laugh and wave her hands as if in conversation with unseen companions. By the age of 2, she began speaking broken words, often directing them towards the family shrine. "Grandma, do you like Jasmine?" "Jasmine loves Grandma too," she would say, her innocent voice filled with affection. Even when I asked Jasmine who she was talking to, she would simply smile, leaving me both puzzled and awestruck by her mysterious interactions. When Jasmine turned 3, I often caught her engaged in deep conversations with someone in the corner of our loft. "Hey, Jasmine, who are you talking to? And what about?" I would inquire, curious about her mysterious interactions. "Grandma said she will give me her bracelet from the drawer," Jasmine replied innocently. Grandma did. She said she knitted them using the fabric of her favorite sundress. I asked, intrigued by her response, Intrigued, I opened my late mother-in-law's drawer, where I indeed found a hand-knitted bracelet. Watching Jasmine happily wear the bracelet, my father-in-law murmured nostalgically, "Ah, those were made from the sundress my wife loved to wear when she was young. She made them into bracelets. She was skilled at knitting." Surprisingly, it seemed that Jasmine could truly communicate with my deceased mother-in-law. However, fearing it might bring harm to her, I decided not to disclose this to anyone. Our days were peaceful, but the tranquility didn't last forever. Mark began to indulge himself, abandoning his work. His company teetered on the brink of collapse, and we could barely afford our living expenses. We relied on the money provided by my father-in-law and my earnings. Eventually, Mark had to swallow his pride and ask his father for financial help. Thanks to that, his company somehow managed to recover. But the question lingered. Would Mark, who continued to lead a carefree lifestyle, ever change? I couldn't shake off my skepticism when one day, Jasmine started saying something unsettling. "Daddy is planning to do something bad," she confided in me. "What do you mean?" I asked, my concern growing. "I don't know, but Grandma seems worried. She told me to be careful," Jasmine replied, her words sending a chill down my spine. I couldn't fully grasp the meaning behind her cryptic message, but it lingered in my mind. What kind of trouble could Mark be getting into? Was it related to his company, another woman, or money? I pondered these possibilities, but without any concrete evidence, I hesitated to confront him. To err on the side of caution, I began carrying a voice recorder and instructed Jasmine not to mention her conversations with her grandmother to her father. A vague feeling of unease gnawed at me. My suspicions deepened when I discovered numerous receipts from strip clubs and bars among Mark's belongings. Despite the financial struggles of his company and even after seeking help from his father, his habit of going out remained unchanged. Moreover, I stumbled upon a note that read, "Consult the gang about the plan." The mention of the gang left me uneasy and wondering about the extent of Mark's involvement. If what Jasmine said was true, and my mother-in-law had indeed been warning us, it could signify impending danger for me and Jasmine. The thought sent shivers down my spine, and for several weeks I remained on high alert. Yet nothing further transpired, and gradually my sense of caution receded as I resumed my daily routine. Then one day my husband, unusually upbeat, approached me. "Thanks to Dad's assistance, my business is thriving and we're making greater profits. How about we go on a family vacation for the first time in a long while?" His suggestion filled me with conflicting emotions. Despite his seemingly sincere offer, doubts about my husband still lingered in my heart. I couldn't ignore the flicker of hope that surged within me as I glimpsed my husband's gentle demeanor, reminiscent of old times. If my husband has genuinely changed his mind, this could be an opportunity to mend our relationship, I thought, entertaining the possibility. With that hopeful notion in mind, I agreed to the family trip. As I busied myself with preparations, the worry stemming from my daughter's unsettling words gradually faded, replaced by excitement for the long-awaited journey. On the day of the trip, I was taken aback by the sight of the rental car my husband had arranged. It was equipped with snow tread tires, instilling a slight unease within me. I couldn't shake the thought that we might be heading towards a snowy mountain. Yet, fearing that voicing my concerns might spoil the trip and dampen my husband's mood, I silently took my place in the back seat alongside our daughter. In hindsight, I realized I should have been more cautious. As we drove deeper into the mountains, supposedly towards the hot spring, my anxiety heightened. Then increasing snowfall and a deviation from the interstate onto an unfamiliar side road only fueled my apprehension. "Dear, this road seems unusual. Are you certain we're on the right route?" I questioned, my voice tinged with worry. My husband's silence only deepened my unease as he continued to drive, his expression grim and fixed ahead. Clutching my daughter tightly, I bit my lip, suppressing the rising sense of alarm. Then, abruptly, my husband brought the car to a halt on a desolate path devoid of any road markings. "You two are of no use to me anymore. Sleep quietly here," he declared, his tone chillingly detached as he dragged us out of the car. "Oh, I almost forgot. I'll be taking your phone with me," he added casually before swiftly snatching the device from my hand. "Wait, dear." I called out in vain, my heart pounding with fear and confusion. I screamed, but my husband ignored me. With a smirk, he started the car and drove away, leaving us behind in the falling snow. Lost in the thick forest, we were stranded with no idea of our whereabouts. Though my husband had confiscated my phone, I had secretly stashed a spare one in my backpack. Yet there was no signal, rendering it useless for calling for help. Since we had left the interstate, a sense of foreboding had gripped me, intensified by my daughter Jasmine's earlier words. Thankfully, both Jasmine and I were bundled in winter coats with our backpacks filled with provisions for emergencies. Despite my preparations, the biting cold winds cut through me, chilling me to the bone. I retrieved a disposable hand warmer from my backpack, using it to warm myself and calm Jasmine with a caramel candy. As the snowfall intensified, it became apparent that we were facing the prospect of being stranded alone in the wilderness. Uncertain of what to do next, I felt a surge of hope when Jasmine suddenly exclaimed, "Mom, Grandma says she's coming over here." Though I saw no one, Jasmine seemed convinced of her grandmother's presence. Trusting in her mysterious connection, I decided to follow her lead. With each step, I held onto Jasmine's hand tightly, navigating through the deepening snow, clinging to the belief that somehow we would find a way out. In that moment, I realized that perhaps it was the hope born from Jasmine's unique intuition that kept me going, even in the face of uncertainty. "I see a light. Grandma is telling us to go towards it," Jasmine exclaimed, pointing in the direction of the glowing beacon. Indeed, I could discern the faint illumination ahead, and a rush of relief flooded over me. "We're saved," I thought, feeling on the verge of tears. "Thank you, mother-in-law," I quietly whispered my gratitude to the guiding presence of my late mother-in-law. Finally reaching a hotel nestled at the foot of the mountains, we sought refuge to warm up. With extra cash stashed in my backpack, I knew we could afford to stay for a while. As we settled in, my thoughts turned to plotting my revenge against my husband. "Don't think I'll forgive you for this. I'm going to thoroughly investigate why you wanted us dead, so be prepared," I vowed silently, determined to uncover the truth behind his treachery. 5 days later, I reached out to my father-in-law. He was taken aback by my unexpected call, but his joy was palpable upon learning that Jasmine and I were safe. Hastening to our side, he arrived at the hotel to collect us. According to my father-in-law, my husband had been spreading a false narrative, claiming that Jasmine and I had tragically perished after falling into a snowy valley. I was utterly flabbergasted. To add to the shock, my husband had apparently told everyone that a search had been conducted but yielded no results. "It doesn't look like we'll be able to find them until spring," he had claimed, proceeding to arrange for our funeral preparations despite my father-in-law's pleas to wait. Adding to the bewildering turn of events, my father-in-law discreetly handed me something that unraveled a startling truth. Upon confronting my husband, I discovered that elaborate arrangements were underway for our funeral. Large portraits of Jasmine and me adorned the room, casting a surreal atmosphere over the scene. Then, as if defying the laws of reality, Jasmine and I appeared before everyone's eyes. The relatives assisting with the preparations were rendered speechless, some even stumbling to their knees in disbelief. How are you alive?" my husband stammered, his voice tinged with disbelief. "Unfortunately for you, we're alive and well," I retorted, my tone laced with bitterness. His feeble attempt to feign ignorance only fueled my resolve. "You thought we would die as you planned, didn't you? After you left Jasmine and me stranded in the snowy mountains," I accused, my words ringing with accusation. The murmurs among the onlookers grew louder, fueled by the revelation that my husband had deceived them all. As tension mounted, I played back an audio recording from the hidden voice recorder, laying bare the truth for all to hear. Mark's chilling words reverberated through the room. "I don't need you guys anymore. Just die here," he declared, causing a stir among the assembled guests. "He's lying. I never said that. She's making up lies." Mark attempted to silence me, but his trembling lips betrayed his facade of confidence. Determined to expose his deceit, I played a damning video from my phone. In the recording, Mark callously confessed, "As planned, I abandoned them in the snow-capped mountains with the life insurance money from my wife and daughter. My company can recover, and I can enjoy a luxurious lifestyle. Of course, I'll also repay the loan I took from your group with some extra, so please wait a little." Caught off guard, Mark hastily tried to halt the recording, but it was too late. The room erupted into whispers, with cold, scornful glances directed at him. "How did this get out? Who was it?" Mark demanded, his desperation palpable. "I asked your father to copy the footage from the dash cam in the rental car you use," I revealed, watching as Mark's facade crumbled. "Mark, you abandoned your own son. Why would you side with a complete stranger?" he challenged my father-in-law. But to everyone's surprise, my father-in-law's anger was directed squarely at Mark. "It's no surprise that he would abandon you. After all, you secretly took out a large life insurance policy not only on Jasmine and me, but also on your own father," he accused, thrusting a policy found in Mark's drawer towards him. Mark stood speechless, cornered by accusations and damning evidence. With no escape, he made a startling admission. "Look, everyone ended up alive, so it's all good, right? I was forced into doing this by loan sharks," he confessed, his desperation evident. "I had it tough too, so forgive me," Mark pleaded. But his words fell on deaf ears. "Don't make me laugh. There's no way I can forgive you. I'll be reporting this to the police," I declared firmly, my resolve unwavering. "We're a family. You can let this slide, right? Please," Mark implored, desperation evident in his voice as he sank to his knees before us. My father-in-law and I exchanged incredulous glances. "There is absolutely no way. I'm utterly disgusted with you. You can go to hell," I spat, my contempt palpable. Mark's shock was evident as he realized his apology wouldn't suffice. But it was too late. A relative who had overheard our exchange had already alerted the authorities, and soon the police arrived to take Mark away. With overwhelming evidence against him, Mark was convicted of a serious crime for attempting to take the lives of his own family. His company went bankrupt, and his life was set on a path of misery, even if he were to be released from jail. Our marriage ended in divorce, and I won full custody of our daughter Jasmine. At my father-in-law's earnest request, Jasmine and I formed a special adoption bond with him, receiving his inheritance as a gift while he was still alive. Now we live happily with my kind father-in-law, cherishing every moment as we watch Jasmine grow. Though he often encourages me to find love again, for now, I am content with the life we have. The other day, Jasmine whispered in my ear, "Grandma says she's glad, but we can't meet her anymore, so she's saying goodbye." It tugged at my heartstrings, but if it meant that my mother-in-law had nothing left to protect us from, then perhaps it was for the best. "Dear mother-in-law, I will protect Jasmine with everything I have," I vowed, placing my hands together in front of her grave, a promise made with unwavering determination.